Hey there, Dengar Stu here. Today's video is about knowing your boat and is proudly sponsored by MarineEngine.com. When you go to sea, there's two basic types of knowledge you need. Your seamanship skills and then a good understanding of the boat you're in. And by that, I mean, you know, where are all the seacocks, what do they connect to, where are the breakers, maybe there's air vent shut-offs for the engine bay, all sorts of things like this. The bigger the boat, the more there is to know. Now, when you buy a second-hand boat, it's not always going to come with that kind of information. Some skippers are very organised and they document it and there's kind of a ship's manual, they hand it to you and you go, great, I can run around and know what everything does. Other times you might buy a boat, could be from an auction, deceased estate, all sorts of things, and you don't even have the owner to call and ask questions. So you need to go through the boat and figure out what everything is, where it all goes, what works, what doesn't work, obviously, in order to have a really good working understanding of the boat so that when something goes wrong at sea, you know exactly where to go and what to do. In this video, we're going to jump on Pete's Halvorsen 36 and start going through all his various battery banks, switches, wiring, just to understand how the backbone of the electrics are put together. It's not going to tell us every minor circuit, but it will let us know where the power's coming from and how it's getting charged. When we got up to the river, Pete left one switch on and couldn't start the boat the next day, so instantly we had a problem. He ran out and just bought a little petrol generator to sort of charge the batteries up, so we'll pick up there.
I forget what the rating for that is, but
yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
That'll help us. I might just quickly test some of these old batteries that came out while we're here.
yeah, it has to be done. Got to figure them out.
See what it says now, and then
We've got six.
yeah, okay. Well, that doesn't even power up this unit, so that's how dead that is. Doesn't get much more dead than that. You can't power a little digital device.
Dead battery or dead unit?
Well,
I reckon
yeah.
dead battery.
The other thing is, you know, just because it's dead flat and can't power this up doesn't mean it's not recoverable, but it just means, wow, that is flat.
I think what's happened is
Well,
when
let's put
the
this on
shore
one of
power,
the new ones. That'll confirm whether we got a dead unit.
when the shore power blew,
Yeah.
it was left all paralysed.
Right.
So I suspect that when you've got all three of these on, these isolation switches,
Yeah.
that the entire system is in parallel.
Right, it just totally drained everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, got out of vehicle, okay. Before charge, regular flooded. Now, let's go CCA. Okay, and this is a 780. Okay, testing. So good battery, state of charge 98, state of health 100. Something else we just remembered from last time is the old batteries have a coarser thread than the new batteries, and they don't come with nuts. All right, good news is we've discovered some paperwork, which is a good start. So Pete's gonna have a look through that, and I'm gonna start drawing this switch, you know, configuration. So these are the three switches that Pete and I were fiddling with before we came up from Sydney. So I'm gonna get a photo of those and then draw a schematic.
So we've got lots of
Manuals for things.
well, in fact, he clearly
receipts.
examined lots of different motors.
Oh, okay. So this is when he was choosing.
Different brochures. We
Ah,
arrive at the Vetus. This is the part now.
yep.
So that is related.
Interesting. All right, this is the switch configuration from the photo, and it's essentially in, out, parallel. So pretty much what we expected, but it's nice to have it confirmed. Now, unfortunately, these wires go, as you can probably see from the photo, go down here through the floor. So we're going to need to figure out exactly where they go after that. So, what's your symptom? Tell me your symptom.
Okay, so we've covered the switches and what we think they do.
Yep.
What I find weird is this. So I've got the keys in now.
Yep.
If I put the keys into the on position, so what you'll hear is an engine alarm.
Yep.
It's the stall alarm.
Yep. Yep.
not-
Yeah, not charging. Yep.
And we can see
Yep.
so
Both
that's
working?
two engines. Port, starboard.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
With that parallel off,
Yep.
starboard on.
Yep.
It's behaving 8 volts. Not enough.
Yeah.
No chance to start.
Okay. Yep.
So I don't understand where that 8 volts is coming from.
All right.
If I do this,
And you parallel, and the other one's off. Left's off. Yep.
yeah. That's our happy place to start the engine.
Interesting.
So, as of right now, it must be paralleled to start.
So what? Ah, no.
So it must be parallel to be on. So it must be on.
Yeah.
And parallel.
So the way that makes sense is that this is the inside, as in power in, and this is power out. Because if this switch is off, and you can parallel and have any change, so this is weird. So this means that parallel works, which means this is in as well. So this must be 2 battery. Okay, so these two must be 2 battery, I think. Because what it means is that parallel works. So if this was off and you put parallel on, this is still going to get more juice. Okay, so that's good. That's actually a really interesting clue.
So what gets me then, let me just paraphrase what I think you said. Have we got 2 isolation switches that isolate each starter from each other, but in every case, normal use would be to have the parallel on to start?
No. What you have is a faulty starboard bank or something, so an issue with it.
Okay, so we put parallel.
And the parallel doesn't need the switches to be on. Back in the build.
Neither of them are that hard to get to.
Right, so this is the missing, no, oh, this is the old one too. Okay, yeah. So we need the nuts, we really do. What do we got here? 2 positives. And, ooh, what's this? Something fancy? This looks like a monitor of some description. Goes to here, it's a grey, looks like a phone, like a flat old Telstra cable.
Yeah.
Heading forward, I would say, do you have like a voltmeter up there or something?
There's no, there would be something. This is not the only box.
Ah, right.
So this does stuff.
Yeah, so if you can see a cable looks like that,
Yeah.
up front anywhere, we should open every hatch we can.
Yeah.
Anyway, 2 big negatives, a sensor wire, 2 positives, and a missing battery, which is very interesting. We still don't know if your starters are 24 or 12 volt.
But I think we established with Steve that there were 12.
Right.
Can't remember how.
Okay, that's interesting. All
I
right.
feel that's something that I learned.
Yep. Well, oh, look at that. You don't get fixes of that quality anywhere else.
Don't go, Marie.
Because we're ship wrongs. Look at that. That's just how much.
That's the next job.
Salt and aluminium, it's just gone, isn't it? It's actually eaten away entirely. So we're going to get the whole heat exchanger off. But yes, not today. Not today. Far as I've heard.
So yeah, the flat grey one does come here.
Yeah.
It does go up here.
Into there, yeah. So that's your charge.
As suspected.
Your
I mean, this
short
is quite a clever thing, right? It's
Yeah.
it's doing quite a lot.
It's cleverer than us. We've got 2 new batteries to put in. Pete's pulling out one of the old ones. I'm going to go and see if I can find some metric nuts that are, I think they're metric. I think these are Imperial, that's metric, for the new batteries. Come on, yes. That good? Okay, yeah, so I think the new ones, the new batteries are 8mm metric. Okay, so let's see if we've got, what do we need, 4 of them? In the This Is Your Life, Pete, somebody commented last video and said, where from England was Pete from originally?
Born in Cambridge.
Yes, sounds very pompous.
Sounds the cheap end of Cambridge. and then grew up in Bedford, just north of London.
Which is not where the vans are made, you told me.
Not Bedford vans are made in Luton, just down the road
All right.
from Bedford.
And then went to London to study music, or?
Went to London to music college, the big city, the big smoke.
Big smoke.
And then Australia for the last 20 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
So if you picked Cambridge, Bedford, London, Sydney,
It is a unique accent, that particular combination. Has anyone ever told you got a nice stern gland, Pete?
famous for my glands.
Yeah. But see, this is like, you've obviously got some sort of grease fitting here. I've got to upgrade mine.
There's a I'll show you in a minute. Under this chair here.
Mine's mild steel, so it's rusting. I don't know why it got made out of mild. It got made by porters, like, proper marine guys. So yours is obviously bronze or brass, grease fitting. Heaps better than mine.
And there's 2 grease pumps under this chair.
Yeah, right.
Easily accessible.
Oh, yeah, yep. And you just give them a tweak. Oh, I know. Or drip every 3 seconds or something? No, it's something like that. Yeah, it's every few seconds. And that's when you're running. But when you stop, you don't need it. So you just pump the grease and stop it.
Yeah.
I've totally got to do that. Get rid of the mild steel, add the grease fitting. When Pete and I put this battery in, we saw the light for the gas monitor come on, and we heard a bilge pump flick for a short period of time. So we're thinking this is an unswitched battery that's for those critical things that are always on. There's a space for another battery, and down there were a couple of short leads, so we're thinking that simply gets paralleled to provide more capacity. That's all there is to it. Now, when this battery was not here, those other critical systems, bilge pumps and gas, only worked when the house switch was on. Is that right, Pete? So it looks like it always has this, but if house is on, it's got this and the house bank.
I presume if you're on shore power, we'll test this in a minute, but I presume you have to have house on to charge that battery from shore.
Possibly. So what we can do is we can put a charge on, check the voltage of that, see if it gets a charging voltage, put the switch on, and this is all the stuff we can start documenting.
Perfect.
So you want to crank your generator up?
I do. Up on the roof.
Let's go have a look at that. Love your work. You could even get a little ratchet strap and strap it down if it worked up there.
Oh, I'm always going to put it away, I think.
Oh yeah, even just if some big wash came past.
Yes.
Which does happen, Anyway, charger's going. So why don't I test the voltage on this battery, see if it's...
We can make it go up by turning house on.
Exactly, yep. Or if it's already up.
Now, you might want to see here, Stu, interestingly, it's showing that it's giving 100% charge.
Yep, so it's definitely got some work to do still.
So, yeah, which we would expect because they went down.
They went down, yep.
What we, hope.
So I don't know if I mentioned, so Pete was saying one of the big problems initially was that you got here, left the house bank on overnight, and in the morning you couldn't start the boat. So that's not good.
Which we suspect may have been...
I haven't seen a VSR relay anywhere yet.
So is this, like... If that house, does that house just parallel everything?
I don't know. I don't know what it
Let's
is.
see.
Anyway, let's get the multimeter and test whether that's getting charged or not. And we'll just slowly build a picture. What can you do? Just... Well, this is showing 13.2, which is kind of a charge volt.
I think that's definitely charging.
Yeah.
My suspicion is that if you check the charge volt over here, that it's not charging until we parallel and... So
Yet to confirm, but we're thinking port and starboard starting batteries, which we can trace to the start easy enough. Unswitched battery bank. And then 2 here and 1 on the other side. But they're all in parallel, so I think this is your house bank. We're going to now do some wire tracing and do a map of the batteries that we're 100% positive with. Looking at it from a functional point of view is not that clear. So we'll do that and we'll come back with a drawing. So, as the switches are now,
we've got what we think of as a starter.
Yep.
On, everything else off.
Yep, starboard,
12
on.
volts, right?
12.2.
I'm
Yep.
expecting this to go to 0.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Yep. Dropping down 0.10. So 0 volts. Yep.
So that's, and then
Yep.
obviously that's
On. Yep. And
so now if we do this I would expect it to also remain at 0. So we'll let it drop.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
You'd expect this to give some...
Oh, no. We have to have, you have to have at least the starboard switch on, otherwise it's got no power.
Yeah.
Just doing some continuity tests to the backs of these switches. And everything's kind of sensible. Starboard motor, port motor starting, parallel. Starboard motor battery, port motor battery. So left, right's all oriented nicely. So we can now document that as being as it is. All right, we figured out now this switch is an emergency parallel between the house bank and the starting bank for the starboard motor, which you can then parallel to the port motor. So with that on, you can start your starboard from the house bank, and with this on, you can start your port motor from the house bank. So what we need to do now, and it goes to this, now we're calling this the house bank, but we don't know how this one battery connects to the rest of the house. All right, so the positive from this single battery comes along, and it's the bottom one in this conduit here. Let's see where that goes. Comes along, down, and up. So this one here comes from that one battery and then goes up under there.
Okay.
So we need to get behind that panel. That's where your fuses are, aren't they? Yeah. Can you see my finger if I follow this up?
Yeah. Yep, it's on the black.
It's on the black with the red.
Your forefinger is on the black with the red at the top.
And that's the other one there?
Yes.
Okay. So, what that means, this is the input from the house bank.
By house bank, you're referring to which?
All four.
All four?
That's that, that and that. And that's the fourth one at the back.
Okay.
So all four are in parallel.
Right.
And they join here. So these three are joined before they get to here. This is the one on its own. These three are parallel directly to each other. It just goes one, two, three.
Down below the floor.
To there. The fourth one comes to there.
But it's then no different though?
No, they're all just four parallel. Four house banks. So you have four batteries in your house bank.
Yeah.
You've got a single starter for port, single starter for starboard.
And you've got the ability to parallel the starters.
Yep.
And parallel the house in
bank
as well.
Yep.
So generally speaking, your house should be off the whole time.
Well, and this is what gets me, is I also don't know how they charge. So that theoretically should be a switch with a VSR over it so that they charge, but they are charging. So obviously it's done differently, but in my system, there's an emergency parallel, and whenever they're charging, they're paralleled by VSR.
More to the point,
yeah,
the house is always on.
We haven't found a house off switch yet, no.
Which means things like you can't, the fridge, which you can turn off.
Yes.
But unless you turn it off, it's on.
So you flattened your house bank and your starting bank. You're
So
saying,
start
in a day.
Well, that was with a dead battery.
With a dead battery.
So basically, by paralleling in a dead battery, that would make sense. You just the weakest link. You've got a little. It would try to charge it. It would just really try hard. And
just sucking. Yeah. Okay. So it may work a lot better now.
You'd expect it to work perfectly now.
And do you have any solar at all in this boat?
Not yet.
No.
Because clearly there's I just saw the solar wired in
or whatever. Yeah. We know what all the banks are now, and we know what all the switches do. I think the next thing is to figure out how this manages to charge.
We do know that it charges. Which battery have we actually measured the voltage charging?
Well, we've kind of measured around a fair bit, but at the same time we're measuring, you've got 40 amp charger charging 6 batteries at once, if that is how it works.
I think it only works that way if you parallel.
But how does the alternators on here charge your house bank? Surely not. Surely it doesn't have to be on.
I reckon it does.
All right, interesting.
Test that.
We can, well, yeah. So what we can do is...
Shore off, start engine.
Yeah.
See if the house is charging. Turn switch. We've also only really got one alternator.
But at the same time, if you don't have the VSR, then...
Yeah, how else?
How else is it going to happen? Because when that's not on, they're not connected. Okay, so all of this is the house bank. So theoretically, this is kind of dodgy. So they've got the parallel switch going to the positive terminal of this battery, where really you would want it up here, because if you disconnect this battery,
It's gone. The whole system.
the system's, yeah, this switch does nothing. Like this battery is the bridge, so it's a bad design. You should move that wire eventually right up to here. But that's okay, at least we understand it. So we got a house bank, a parallel switch for the house starter, 2 starting batteries, and on, off, and parallel for your starting bank. There's 2 things I want to trace now. So we've got our charger. This is the thing we don't. So we got a fuse panel. There's our charger here, which is a shore power charger. So we want to know where that goes. Also, there's a massive positive lead that comes forward, which probably goes to another fuse panel to run all your Galley stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's currently an unknown. And
there isn't. It's more electronics. There's a fuse panels down there. I reckon we can see that right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
I have a feeling I know where that is.
Yep.
So, I think it's coming into this.
Okay. So
That's the only other, because there's really forward of here. There's not a lot. We've got a macerator, we've got a fridge, and then this cupboard's full of radios. And
the funny thing is,
that's all. There's nothing in there.
can't see the wire because it goes to the inverter. That's what it is. It's a massive wire. Like it's not to there.
That would make sense because the inverter's going to draw a lot.
Yeah, that's what it is.
The inverter's up here.
Well, that's your inverter there.
Oh, that's the inverter fuse then. Okay.
Yeah, it's a circuit breaker for the inverter. You've probably got an RCD which I need to install.
So you got those 2 are the inverter sockets.
Yeah, I'd say that's what that because you got a big wire coming forward.
The inverter's plugged in here, is it?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Lovely. Okay, so we're going to call that inverter question mark. All right, let's see where the charger goes. So quite a few wires come out of it. So there's the silver one, which was from the negative of the house bank.
I mean, that tells us something, right? That's a sensor of some sort.
Yeah, okay, so it goes to the positive of one of your house bank batteries, which they're all linked. It goes backwards. Yeah, I think it's 3 upwards. I reckon it's
just charging the house bank.
No, I reckon it's got this charges your house bank. This probably charges your port motor. This charges your starboard. I bet you it's just your 3 banks.
I can actually see them because you have coming out there.
Yeah, you have
Yeah. Okay.
You have 3 battery banks: port starting, starboard starting, and house. And you got 3 leads out of your charger.
Yeah.
One goes to one goes to the other. Yep, they're your 3 wires.
Yeah.
So that always, regardless of switches, charges
House.
both starting banks and your house.
Everything.
Yep, everything. So charger has 3 red wires. Charges house bank by coming to this positive. Once again, you sort of think maybe it should come to the central point, but anyway. And it charges starboard bank and port bank, or opposite, regardless of any switch position, which is good. So I think that's the bulk of the backbone of it understood now.
That's awesome. So we've got these fellas are suffering because they were too dead, too good, and from the moment we connected them, they'd be suffering.
Yes. So
hopefully recovering.
So recovering. Yep. So we've got them all on charge now. To me, like your engines can't charge your house bank unless you manually put this switch on, the parallel switch on, which means you just have to put a VSR across there, and that'll temporarily connect the 2 banks while the engines are running, and when they're not, it'll disconnect.
As we've just seen, any kind of leave the fridge on by mistake, and you've got a
start battery.
Yeah. And so that's a really high risk switch.
It is. So add a VSR across there.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 engines, 2 alternators.
30 amps each.
Yeah, so and at the moment, only a starboard engine would charge your house bank unless you had your engine bank parallel on as well.
I think they're assuming, the way it seems to me it's designed to work is when you're motoring, having a jolly old time, all the switches are on.
Everything's on. Turn it on, start, and when you finish, turn everything off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're charging everything up as you go, everything's happy, and when you turn it all off, the house is all on.
Yeah, you've got a parallel bank to start it, you've got the most current you need to start it. So you could theoretically put a VSR there and a VSR over here.
Yeah, okay. So
to automate it a little bit.
Well, that would be on the basis that you might motor under one engine. Who would do that?
No. On the basis that you want both engines to charge your house bank while you're running. If your house bank's low and you had a VSR here too, you would have both alternators contributing to charging the house bank. I don't think that's an issue. I think it's all right.
Yeah, one
One
at least
for the-
one, maybe one
maybe
there,
two.
and then I think the other one is solar.
Yeah, solar. Yeah. So it's extra solar. Well, and obviously it was installed and it's gone. So you got most of the infrastructure. So we've really
The solar was on the ground.
which is gone right. So you've
Another
got
story.
So you've got a charge control and everything. You've got everything you need. You just need panels.
Yeah.
All right.
And find the cable.
Yeah.
Switch.
Wherever it went.
Yeah. I think that's where it went.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It looks.
Yeah. All right. Mission
Alrighty.
accomplished.
Yeah.
That's good.
Cooper's a clock.
Cooper's a clock. Yeah. People asked about seeing more of the Halvorsen Whitecrest, so get Pete to give us a tour before we go home.
Yeah.
Lead on.
Welcome aboard. In fact, let's start at the very beginning.
Or the very end.
Or the end. Down here at the stern, we've got a little outdoor area. We've got some clears and blinds for here, but the Halvos were built in I think this is a 1956 boat.
Oh, really? Okay.
I said 59 before, but I think it's 56. But it's,
yeah.
it's of that vintage.
Yep.
Built with twin engines from the factory, which means it was a privately owned boat. They were built in Sydney.
Right. So the charter boats were all single screw.
The fleet were all single screw.
Yep.
And they'd go maybe 4.5 knots, you know.
Yep.
And they'd get you where you want to be.
Right.
But step inside, and we've got, this is we have no idea if this was the original configuration, but a lot of Halvos have the galley here. But we've just got this enormous leisure area for
Play poker.
music, whatever we want.
Yeah, get the Hammond.
Yeah, it's nice and easy. There's a little hatch here.
Left-hand drive.
Left-hand drive, but the advantage of that is that you can open this here hatch, sit on the roof, and steer using a device that I've got stowed down there, which is all very good. This is all.
And so that's your. You see, that's a telly or something, is it?
Yeah, so we've got television for the kids. I mean, it's just instrument storage. That's a high-tech door security unit.
I like
just
it.
Radios behind there, and a couple of other things. As you come down here, you got the galley.
And the bar. We can't miss the bar.
Oh, the bar. Now this is the money shot right here.
Oh, nice. Mirrors and lights.
And flexible use of glasses as structural support. That's what
Gold.
you need.
And you're the awards.
Yeah,
The races.
yeah. So previous owners, I think, I'm not sure if it's David Watt possibly, up in Queensland, was obviously a fantastic orienteer or flag racing.
Whatever they call it. Yeah.
You know, all that stuff. Very good. Excuse the mess. We've been working on the boat. This
We
is
have.
the galley area.
Nice. Microwave. Very good.
Microwave, and then as you come inside,
Beer fridge?
this is the stateroom. Yeah, the beer fridge. But you know, as everyone.
Oh, look at that. I like that.
And really quite, hot shower. Hot
Nice.
shower. I'm 6 foot tall, standing room.
Yeah.
There's a loo just behind there, and some lovely flowers
And tiles.
to
Lovely.
improve. Yeah. This is a little bit unconventional.
Okay.
We've got a double and a sort of king single.
Yep.
So this tends to be where you kind of pile in the kits,
Yeah, gotcha.
as many as you can, and it raised up for more storage. You can see the original line of a smaller bed.
Ah, okay.
And then extended. Yes, they brought it this way. It will be, and then this back here, which I can't open right now because we've got some stuff for tonight.
Yeah.
But that's just like a chain locker or
Okay.
workspace. That's
Yeah,
where you keep
gotcha.
the outboard
Yeah, gotcha. Yep.
and there's a forward hatch which you might see at the top. So that's right there.
Down to there. Yep.
Yeah. So there you go.
All right.
That's all 36 feet of white crest, a Halvo 36, and
Very nice.
More
Let's have a look. Let's have a quick look on the bow too. So that'd be interesting to see. So where those windows are is kind of the end of this cabin.
yes.
To see how that relates to the outside.
Yes, you got the hatch for it. It's quite a long way, there's quite a lot of boat in front of that.
Yeah, it is. No, that's actually what surprised me. It almost feels like there should be a V-berth in there, or
Yeah,
could be.
Could. I think some people have done that.
Yeah.
Some people, you step down to a bunk on the right. If you have a galley up here,
Yeah.
you step down to a bunk area
Ah, right.
on the starboard side there.
Which is a reason to give you more space
Which gives you-
internally.
and I think they steal slightly longer.
Gotcha.
And then they go forward.
Yeah. So if the galley was in this space.
Yeah.
Right.
Very often you have like a larger sort of construction here with a sort of galley, and it's almost like this is a separate room. Kitchen.
Oh, okay.
This is the,
Yeah. Right.
This is where the table is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see some different layouts. All right. Oh, it's not falling. Okay, so no, there's not a huge amount forward, is there? As you say. Try and put it back to the wind. Yeah, so it really is just your chain locker and your winch then, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's the end of the berth.
Yep.
There's quite a lot of space. I mean, that's quite. There's a large. You know,
Work in there.
several outboards.
Yep.
A bunch of chain.
Yep.
You know, I don't think it's. I mean, we tend to gas and fuel is off the
stern, yeah.
Swim out of it.
Yep.
It's certainly.
Is this an outlet for deck wash?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Presume it's for cleaning the anchor.
Yeah, it does look that way.
Yeah. More things to find and trace
And
and
then that's the
hit the button with your foot.
yeah.
So we traced all the electrical, but we haven't done fuel tanks, water.
The fuel tanks are that's another discussion because
Okay.
they're in the innards. You really can't replace them.
Get to them easily, right?
But
This is the timber work on the.
and then this is the famous. So we're going to get rid of this, obviously.
Oh yes, this.
The Halvorsen has a brow,
Mhm.
which is like a peak cap, and traditionally it would come out to maybe about here, and it would have no structural support. Maybe because we don't know when, but maybe because it was in Queensland, or for whatever reason someone wanted more shade, or they just wanted more. So it had this enormous brow that required these, and that's what caused the damage when it was trucked
And then it got ripped off while it was being driven down.
off at 100 k's. Someone
Yeah, it was on the back of a truck on a freeway, and that got ripped off from the wind. But once again, I think if highway speeds can rip it off, then it wasn't done right.
Risky because the kids would, in particular, like to use the room as the roof as a jumping platform.
Right. Yes.
And they're going to come forward.
Yep. And eventually go through it.
It did rip off and
Right. That happened when it came off.
Yeah. Well, not we've since we put some temporary on, and now we've stripped it back with a view to doing something a bit more permanent.
Oh yeah. So it had like top strand glass there.
Yeah. There's I don't know if you saw the mast in the.
Yeah, I did. The mast was downstairs.
So, there you go. That's where the mast goes.
Yep.
And I'm imagining that the mast represents the end of the roof, and we'll use this space for solar.
Gotcha. Perfect.
That's my thinking.
Nice.
That
Very
is
good.
Another day.
Another day. Very good. Yeah, a bit of solar there, and you'd be in business.
Good stuff.
Oh, thank you for this.
It took us about 3 hours, but at the end of that, we knew what every battery was, what bank it was a part of, we knew what every switch did, we knew where the current from the alternators went, we knew where the current from the battery charger went. So, pretty good basic understanding now of how the boat's put together. Obviously now we could push on and start drawing up schematics for, the cooling system, the fuel system, the sewage system, the fresh water, all sorts of things. But the electrical system was the one that was giving us real trouble, so obviously it was the first cab off the rank. Straight away now, Pete also knows there's a few quick things you can do to make the boat much better. Add a VSR across the parallel switch so that the house bank always charges and isn't left on. We can put a switch for the house bank. Currently the house bank is not able to be switched off at all. We thought the other switch was that switch and it's not. Finally, he could very easily add some solar cells and just plug them straight into an existing solar controller. Obviously the cells were on the brow of the boat that got ripped off on the freeway, so very, very easy to get that up and running as well. So 3 quick things he could do to make the electrics much better. It also makes diagnosis much easier. When he said he couldn't start the starboard motor, which is the only working motor at the moment, and he said, but if I parallel, I can. And the batteries for the port and starboard motors were both new. So we're like, that's weird, what's the issue? How does this work? Does it need to be in parallel? And the answer for that turned out to be that the bridge was left on, so the house bank drained the starting bank, but the parallel wasn't on, and the house bank is connected to the starboard bank, so it just flattened the starboard battery. The port battery was actually still good. So by knowing how it's all connected, that symptom would have led us to a very obvious conclusion very quickly. So you can see how it's really important to have this information. All right, we will see more of this boat in the future, but that's it for this week. A couple of thank yous first though. A nice segue from Halvorsen Boats, which came from Norway. Lars Halvorsen came to Sydney in about 1925 or 24, I think it was. And I've been sent this Fusion stereo system, 280 watt stereo from a viewer in Norway. I feel bad, but I actually can't find the correspondence that came with it, so I can't remember your name to say thank you. But either send me another email or, put a comment in the comments below and I'll get back to you, thank you properly. So thank you for that, much appreciated. The other thing you may notice is Craig sent me from the US his little sort of Renko Just Stewart sign that he made up at home and posted that over. So thank you very much for that as well. All right, well, take care and I'll catch you guys soon. See ya. Two little eager faces ready for breakfast. Come on. Come on, Duffy. You gonna do the stairs? You're gonna do what Daisy does and go the long way around. That, you're gonna give him a go. Oh, good effort. Come on, you're doing well. Couple more to go. Yes. All right. Hang on, I'll get you some worms. Worms for your effort. All right. No, you can't eat straight out of the packet. When has it ever worked that way? Never. You made it. Well done. Bon appetit.